has a big sign. This one's got 95% success rate. This one's got 75% success rate. And then you'd say Amway, and it's got 0.03%. Like, the game's over.
Yeah, that's a good point. In fact, in the United States, the way the laws are organized is if you charge somebody $500 or more to get involved in the business, it is considered a franchise. But if it's $499 or less, then all of those franchise disclosures are not required. And so all of the MLMs, particularly in the United States, keep their prices or their cost, I should say, to get involved at $499 or less, so that those franchise laws and the extra disclosures that are required by law do not apply. Now, having said that, soon after signing up, you can easily spend hundreds and hundreds and even thousands of dollars within a very short period of time. And so that $500 limit is only the initial involvement, but MLMs make up for it very quickly after somebody joins. So it's kind of a weak law from that standpoint. I would certainly agree with you, Glenn, that if MLMs were required to provide the disclosures that franchises, which is 500 or more, are required to do, they would collapse. Absolutely, they would collapse. There's no question about it.
Let me just jump in for a second, only because I was part of the business opportunity ruling with the FTC. I think, Scott, you using the word franchise, you really want to use the word business opportunity, because it's not really the $500 limit is for a business opportunity, not necessarily a franchise. Your thought process or your theory is correct, but I think the business term would be business opportunity, not a franchise. But here's my challenge with running down this
franchise. They say it's franchise. They call it a
franchise.
Sorry? They say in Australia,
it's not a franchise. It might be in Australia, but in the U.S. it's a business. They call it a business opportunity.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a franchise.
In fact, Amway is very much against the use of the term franchise. They really frown on that. Uplines in the United States have tried that word, and Amway says, no, you cannot use that word. And I think the reason is because, and even though you're right, Peter, that it's really a business opportunity rule, I think there's words in the law that talk about franchise disclosures, and I have to look at it again. But we're really splitting hairs as far as whether it's a business opportunity or a franchise. The main thing, no matter what name you want to call it, if it's $500 or more to get involved, then you have extra disclosures required. If it's less than $500 to get involved, there's less disclosures. To me, that's the salient point here. Whether we use business opportunity or franchise to refer to it.
If there's 108,000, how's that not a franchise?
Well, again, I think it's semantic.
Those are independent business. Those are independent businesses. Those are just distributors.
Yeah, I think it's really semantics here. Amway doesn't want to associate their business with the word franchise because that means, or it could mean in some people's minds, that extra disclosures are required. And so they don't want to be associated with that word because then people are going to go, well, if you're a franchise, then where's your extra disclosures? And they want to separate themselves from that whole idea. That's my opinion. There could be other reasons I might be wrong.
It's pretty straightforward. When you're talking about it's usually because there's a financial investment, and then you have to disclose things like, has the company been sued? How many people that join under that price wound up making any money? All those types of issues. So that's usually when there's a bigger thing. When you're talking about joining Amway or somebody else, it's usually a nominal charge, relatively speaking. For $35 or $200 or $300, that's still a small charge. When it gets to the $500 here in the United States, it kind of bridges the gap into business opportunity. But the concept here, I think, is this, and I'll just reframe the question. The concept is if you're joining to get a discount, that's one, let's call it sales pitch. If you're joining to become rich, that's a different level of disclosure ethically. So if you're joining just to get a discount, who cares how many people make money, save money, whatever. If you're joining just to get a discount to be able to save 3 or 15% or whatever it might be, the biggest problem is when you get it, you escalate it to the sales pitch of this is where you can get rich and famous, or this is where you can replace your income, or become financially free, or buy back your time, or be your own boss. That's where really the ethical disclosures need to start popping out. And part of the problem with disclosures is because there's some variables. So I'll use my direct sales example. Even today, as a direct sales manager, I mean, knowing the statistics behind all the people that I hired and all the people that made money and all the people that worked out and all that sort of stuff was largely a waste of time. It was largely, if somebody came to me and said, we need to study the facts of what's going on in your Bowling Green office or your Bayside office or your Arlington Heights office or whatever, first of all, it'd be different based on the manager. So totally different. So, in Bowling Green, we might have a great branch manager. In Arlington Heights, we might have somebody that doesn't know how to get off a desk. So it'd be totally different scenarios. So the statistic, I would say, what's the point in doing statistics here? This is a waste of time. Like, this is a really waste of time. The manager probably makes a difference. Other things would be, what does a person do? Well, hell, I run an affiliate program. I have a program where people can sign up for free, and most people that sign up for free do nothing. Does that mean my affiliate program's worthwhile? If you looked at the statistics, how many people actually made money versus how many joined, it's a misleading number. It really depends on how many people did things. If we kind of extrapolate that a little bit, maybe people that sell books would never be able to sell books. How many books do you sell that people actually read cover to cover? And the answer would be, very, very, very few, unless they're like Stephen King books and they're romantic novels. But the reality is that I think it has to do with the intent and the essence of why are you joining. That gets into the business relatable question. We're trying to figure that out, and people trying to design a income disclosure have missed that mark because it doesn't fit. So although I think it's pretty straightforward to say, listen, most of you that want to join, and even if you want to make money, won't, only because it's kind of tough. And most of you quit because you won't do what's necessary. And some of you, unfortunately, like your dad, Glenn, some of you, if you're plugged into a business model that by design is going to fail, you could work that business model that's designed to fail for 1,000,000 years and never stand a chance.
Yep.
That's really sad. So that's the problem. So anyway, so there's my little rambling thing. So and just back to your dad. I mean, I'm sure you speak of your dad with respect, and it sounds like you care about your dad. It's just your dad's been blinded by the business model associated with Amway, and it's really weird that way. It's human nature. He's sold on Amway, and he's going to stick it out, and you're still your dad, and you love him anyway. But it's like, Dad, man, you can sit at this for the next 1,000,000 years. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work because the business model is mostly flawed. Back to you.
Yeah, Peter, you mentioned your career in direct sales earlier, and some people equate direct sales to MLM. So I just wanted to point out that those terms, in the way that we're using them here tonight, are very, very different. So MLM, there's an upline and downline. You sponsor people, you recruit people, and you can sell them tools, and there's all these things going on. They're incented to buy the stuff, your downline distributors, because they're being told, these products, they're not told this exactly, but this is the message. You could buy these overpriced products in order to get where I am, and so go ahead and buy them even though they're overpriced, and go ahead and buy these tools that I'm cleaning up on, and of course they're not honest about that. But that's an MLM. So there's this upline downline relationship, whereas in direct sales there is no upline, there is no downline. And when you were doing your Electrolux business years ago, Peter, you were a manager. You trained new Electrolux direct sales representatives, and they went literally door to door. I don't know if they went physically door to door and made phone calls, but they went looking for customers. They were not looking for a downline distributor. They were looking for customers that had no other reason to buy an Electrolux vacuum other than, was it worth the money that the vacuum was being offered at? and that was a yes/no decision. You know, from a